It all started like 13 years old. I have two other siblings, and my mom knew something, like it wasn't normal teenage behavior. And it took a while because back then, even though I'm young, the doctors was like, no, she's normal teenage behavior. My mom's like, no, it's not. I have two other kids. So we just started counseling freshman year of high school, finally. It hit me when my grandma passed away in December. It really hit me in May. And I actually went to the hospital, the emergency room, and then after Mother's Day, I went to Ramapo Ridge, but it hit me, and I'm just like, I want to be with her. I just felt hopeless.
At this time in our state and nation's history, it's so important that we have leaders that are not driven by politics, but that are driven by policy and people. Senator O'Toole has shown himself to be someone who rises above the normal fray, the normal types of discussion and conversations that are going on, and looks to identify how he can look for solutions, how he can make a difference in policy and in the lives of people.
I started in public service back in the early 80s. I was a legislative aide to an Assemblyman, John Kelly. And when I was in law school in 1989, I ran for the local office. I served as mayor in 1990. And then I sought out a state legislative seat in 1995. So I've been in public service for probably a little over 30 years, and it's been a heck of a ride.
I think Senator O'Toole is someone that we can look up to as a role model. He's worked tirelessly serving the people of the state of New Jersey. He's represented his district well. Senator O'Toole has always fought for the people, fought for better health care, better access to health care, and just represented the people of, not only the people of the 40th District, but all of us in northern New Jersey. Kevin has had the back of all of us. Even though we're in a different legislative district, I knew that if I had a problem, I could go to Senator O'Toole and he would help.
We look to government to be the voice for those people who don't have a voice. You judge a government and you judge a community by how well those in leadership and how well those in government actually care for those people who are less able to take care of themselves. We judge a government by its successes as how well they care for the vulnerable. So in this case, we can look to see, I guess you can say we can judge Kevin in that regard, and he stands up in that area. He stands up and taking care of the vulnerable, for the seniors, for the veterans, for the mentally challenged, for all these people. That's the way you judge a society, that's the way you judge a government, and I think that's the way, if we judge Kevin that way, he would come out with flying colors.
If there hadn't been people like that, Christian health care wouldn't have existed. And through the years, it's changed. It started out as a place for psychiatric people, but they sensed the need of other people and wanted to provide it. And the churches and community groups began to respond to that need. And so we're very grateful for Mr. O'Toole and whoever else is that's talking to the community about us.
One of the aspects of Senator O'Toole's leadership that I admire greatly is the diverse group of friends that he has within the legislature. It identifies him as someone who, when faced with a challenge or an opportunity, doesn't think about self, but thinks about solutions, and realizes that having a diverse and wide array of friends on both sides of the aisle is the way to bring solutions, to bring change, to make a positive impact in people's lives.
One of the responsibilities we have as elected officials is to take care of those that can't take care of themselves. The very young, the infirmed, and those who have challenges. It became more obvious to me when I saw both my parents in need of health care, my mom and dad, and I saw a mother-in-law and a father-in-law who had significant hospital needs. I had a mother-in-law for 5 years was in a assisted living and rehabs, and until you see that firsthand, you don't have a great appreciation for the need, how vulnerable they are, and how much of a struggle it is to find the right facility or the right health care for our aging population, for our moms and dads. So one, because I've always believed it's one of the tenets that I strongly believe is help those that can't help themselves. And two, by life experience, seeing what my relatives have gone through has given me a further resolve to making sure there is a steady funding system in place to provide health care for those that really need it.
There's been a crisis in healthcare funding that we're experiencing nationwide, and here in North Jersey is no different. And when the Medicaid bills have come up through the Senate, when healthcare spending bills, when healthcare cuts and restrictions have come through the Senate, Senator O'Toole has always been a willing ear to listen to the healthcare constituents in his district, of which they're significant. There are several major health systems in his district, and I believe he has helped champion the cause for healthcare funding.
When you think about mental health and you think about elderly care, these aren't topics that you really want to think about. So, but when you're faced with them, it's so great that you have not only Christian Healthcare Center, but you have an advocate like Kevin O'Toole who's out there fighting for them, who is thinking of these things and who is thinking of the less fortunate. And when you're faced with difficulties and you don't know where to turn, it's so great that there are different programs for the elderly, but there's also mental health for people, because it's just not something that you want to face. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we have Kevin to fight for us, and if we need to go through these things, they're out there and we know where to go.
Christian Healthcare Center finds its roots in serving the mentally ill. Senator O'Toole recently sponsored the Madison Holleran Suicide Prevention Act. Madison was a beautiful young woman, a college student from northern New Jersey, who took her life while she was away from home at school. Her family was understandably devastated by her loss and reached out to Senator O'Toole to find a way to prevent other families and other young people from suffering in silence, and giving them the opportunity to have additional resources available to them when they were in crisis. Senator O'Toole demonstrated tremendous leadership with this legislation and the hopeful opportunity that it will help others in similar situations.
I like to say to my therapist, who has helped me, just thank you. And she has definitely saved my life, because there were a couple times where I thought about suicide, but then I thought of her and all the help she gave me and all the knowledge she gave me. And everyone here who has helped me is just great, and they're welcoming and warming, and they'll help anyone. So just thank you. The senator who helped pass the bill, I feel like, to help students, I feel like it's a step in the right direction to get over mental illness and to let students know that it's okay to get help. It's okay to go to someone if you're feeling hopeless. There is help out there, and there is people who want to help you. And there's a lot of resources. Just people aren't aware of it, and students are embarrassed. And hopefully passing this bill will let students know it's okay and it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
We are going to miss Senator O'Toole. He has been he's been a loyal friend. He's been a confidant. He's been a trusted legislator for us here in North Jersey, and it's a big void. It's going to be a big void. They are big shoes to fill, but I do know that he's going to be around, and he will be very helpful through this transition.
There are many different moments that you can look upon in the last 22 years that help define what we've done, the good work we've done in District 40, whether it's helping an elderly woman with social services that she couldn't afford, whether it's calling PSE&G when someone's power was out, whether it's trying to land a job for somebody who was really down their luck, whether it was trying to help for some funding programs for some of the worthy causes like Christian Healthcare and others, whether it's sponsoring meaningful legislation like the Madison Holleran bill. When you look back, there's been a sea of ideas that didn't really come from me, from constituents and from the staff, that we've had quite a ride trying to bring them to fruition. So There's no single one piece that I can say helps define who I've been as a legislator. It's been an amalgam and a fabric of many different pieces that I sit here today saying there's been a lot of successes that we've all been a part of. When I met my wife December 3rd, 1993, I fell in love with her immediately, got engaged within 26 days, which people don't understand. I've married, over 22 years, and she has defined me as a singular person. And that has just made me a better person having met my wife, Beth. When my son was born, March 26th of '97, the miracle of life was presented to me, and that literally changed my life. When I saw the work of our God and that birth, I was, to this day, I was so remarkably blown away. When my daughter was born, September 2nd of '99, that miracle was reinstated to see the miracle of life. And I knew once those two children were born that my mission was to take care of them. Not always easy to do, not always easy and to be the patient one, but they are just remarkable kids who have made me a better person. And my charge is to take care of my parents, my charge is to take care of my wife, my charge is to take care of my kids. I've been to their plays, their concerts, and it's with some immodesty that I say that I've been a pretty good father in being supportive of them, as my parents have been of me. I think that's no other way to be, is you have to be a role model for them. You have to support them, whether they succeed or whether they fail. And if I have any discredit to me as a politician, it is that I have not been every man going to every event. I'd rather be home with my wife and my kids and my family. That's just a reality I had to deal with. And I never lost an election, so I guess that it didn't serve me too badly. But my principles were pretty straight from the moment I saw my wife and my two kids.
When the David F. Bolger Award for Service and Leadership is presented, it is because we have had the opportunity to identify an individual or an organization who has demonstrated service above self and leadership through the strength of their character, the delivery of excellence in their area of expertise, and inspiration to others has set them apart.
I think Lana is such a successful company because of the pride they take in what they do.
They really took pride in not only helping us with their professional services, but also with their volunteer time.
They make it a point as part of their culture to get their employees involved in causes near and dear to their employees' heart.
LAN started as an engineering firm. When I joined in 1978, we branched into architecture. We have developed our staff and our mission to include a full service of architecture, engineering, planning, and surveying services.
When we make decisions corporately, not only are they business related, but we also use our heart in making those decisions, and I believe that's how it's allowed our staff to enjoy being with us for a long period of time and maintaining long-term client relationships.
LAN Associates has been a client of MWWPR for almost 2 years now. We were first introduced to LAN when they needed help promoting their 50th anniversary party. What I found most fascinating about LAN is they were in existence for 50 years. They do quality work throughout the state, throughout the region, and they never hired a PR firm before to promote them.
What I've learned about the people that work over at LAN Associates is that it's not just a job to them, it's a little bit more, or maybe it's a lot more. It's actually trying to improve the community. It's about giving back to the community. It's reaching out and saying, hey, how can we help you with this project? Sometime as a paying client over here, and sometime we're just going to step up and volunteer for this particular project as well and see what we can do.
LAN has a long history of working with nonprofits, churches, and various ministries in providing services for the needs of those ministries, whether that be plans or planning board testimony or environmental services. Nonprofits need services just like for-profit establishments. The trick is nonprofits obviously don't have the funding.
LAN recently partnered with Habitat in Orange County in Newburgh, and we've partnered with other habitats as well. We've partnered Bergen as well as Morris County, and we really like what they do, their mission and their values. And so in this particular case, we were able to work both on the design and then also help them execute a project which was a live-work project, one of their very first, in which a photographer would have a chance to have both a residence and a place to conduct his studio work, which is a really great experience.
It's one of my favorite designs with the Live Work home. And just that they also are very committed to the community in which they work, witnessed by how they responded to our request for support, and then their involvement not just with their professional services, but with volunteering on site. So they became involved in Habitat for Humanity, not just on the periphery with doing the architectural design, but really became involved. And then after that, they posted on their social media. And so they really went that extra mile of saying this is important to us. So both the quality of the work that they do and the quality of their heart were just an incredible statement of who this company is. There's always a very special moment that happens at the end of any project that we do, and that is when we dedicate our homes and we pass the keys to the new family that will be moving into it. And that moment is a celebration of all that has gone into the work to build the home in partnership, and then also the passing on, the blessing that we hope will come from this particular home.
When I look at LAN Associates, I see an organization that has strong, almost family values. It's an employee-driven organization. It's not one where there is a distinct separation between the upper leadership and the larger representation of the staff who are out serving clients. They're a team. They're a family. They understand what the objective is, and they all work together to deliver that and to make it happen with excellence. And that's something that we share with them very much. I think we aspire to be an organization that functions in much the same way. I joined Christian Healthcare Center back in 1990, and I don't remember a time since then when there hasn't been an important project or need that we haven't been working on or visioning about with LAN Associates. Whether it's recent projects like our Bolger Gym and Wellness Center, the Vista, renovations that are underway for our Longview assisted living residents, or its initial construction with them back in the late 1990s, work in Evergreen Court, work on Sienna Village in Wayne. There have been a number of areas where the partnership that we have had with LAN Associates, their team and ours working together, has really made a tremendous difference.
We were very surprised and honored to be recognized with the David F. Bolger Award for service. Frankly, I don't think we deserve it. I think we should be doing more service. So I think if anything, this will motivate us to even be more focused on the community.
Mr. Bolger is kind of a hero of mine, and I had first learned about him many years ago in some publications about different items that he has donated to communities. And recognizing him as someone who has been very successful in life and using that success to give back to the community in such a great way has always been something I've admired. So to have LAN Associates associated with his name is a great honor to me.
When I was doing my research about LAN and some of the projects that they've worked on, one thing really stood out for me. In Hawthorne, New Jersey, there is a 9/11 memorial. Must have passed it 100 times. I didn't realize that LAN had not only designed the 9/11 memorial, but it dedicated its time, its resources, and its finances to erect this.
We decided after getting a beam from the World Trade Center to build a memorial and we were kind of perplexed as to how we were going to do it, what it would look like, what it would cost. And Land came and said that they would be willing to donate engineering and architectural help to get the monument done. They brought in suggestions, they showed us other memorials throughout the state, and we created something we felt was unique to Hawthorne with what we did, but Land was there to tell us what would work, what wouldn't work. Without Land Associates' help, we wouldn't have a 9/11 memorial today in Hawthorne.